And now, news and commentary. Tonight's news will focus on a legislative bill signed by the President in the dead of night at 2 a.m. this morning. The ACLU and the Freedom from Religion Foundation have won their fight to remove all things religious from the public square. Our crack team of investigative reporters has been interviewing representatives from the ACLU and the Freedom from Religion Foundation regarding the Freedom from Religion Act and have compiled a short list of consequences of this new law. Beginning with government documents, all references to God, Jesus, or any religious figure must immediately be redacted. As you can see, the Pledge of Allegiance has been redacted here. The Declaration of Independence must have nature's God and Creator redacted. Such original documents now on display in the National Archives need not be redacted, but must be removed and stored in a hermetically sealed vault. Since the description of the public square also extends to any institution that receives government subsidies, they must all comply with the Freedom from Religion Act. This would mean that all textbooks and study material containing any reference to any religion must be immediately removed from the classrooms or have all such illegal references blackened in every school book in the country except those schools funded privately. All displayed copies of founding documents referring to God, etc., must also be removed. The Emancipation Proclamation must be redacted and the original stored with the previous documents mentioned, and all copies found on government property or institutions subsidized by government funds must be redacted or removed from the property. Government employees driving government vehicles cannot display a crucifix from the rear window mirror or leave a Bible in plain sight on the seat of the vehicle, as someone seeing the government car with a religious item inside might be offended. While using government cell phones and texting, employees may not use any abbreviations expressing God, such as OMG or JC. This is a current list of offending acronyms. Also, while speaking regarding government business, even though they are not on government property, they may not use such euphemism as, "Oh my God," "God help us," and so forth. Jesus' name is also not permitted. Since hell is also a religious term, it may not be used as well. There are many government buildings that will require extensive remodeling or rebuilding to comply with the statute. The statue of Moses on the east side of the Supreme Court building, as well as other depictions of Moses, will have to be removed. The engraving of the Ten Commandments found on the bronze door of the chamber must be removed, as well as all other renditions of the Ten Commandments found throughout the building. It appears that the Supreme Court gave itself a waiver when it ruled that the Ten Commandments could not be placed in the public square. Also, the courts-martial shall cease and desist the pronouncement, "God save the United States and this honorable court," from the beginning of each court session. Several depictions of Muhammad holding his Quran, the basis of Sharia law, and the sword he used to increase his following must be removed. Prayer will no longer be allowed at the beginning of congressional sessions. There will no longer be an office of the chaplain of the House, and the Reverend Patrick J. Conroy and his staff will be dismissed and refrain from any further religious conversation or activity while on government property. The chaplain of the State Senate opens each session of the United States Senate with a prayer and provides religious programs and pastoral care support for senators, their staffs, and their families. This will no longer be allowed, and all staff dismissed. All religious materials such as crosses, Bibles, artworks of religious imagery, and so forth must be removed immediately. The Senate chaplain and the staff must be immediately dismissed and not allowed to perform any religious service on the Capitol grounds. Activities such as the 200 legislators singing "God Bless America" on the Capitol steps on September 11, 2001, and several times afterward, will not be tolerated. Any legislator performing such acts in the future may face fines and possible impeachment. The marble likeness of Moses in the house chamber must be removed immediately. Christmas trees and the national Hanukkah menorahs may no longer be displayed on the National Mall ellipse, and the annual lighting ceremony of the National Hanukkah menorah is hereby prohibited. Christmas trees are no longer allowed in the White House, and the annual Easter egg hunt held on the White House lawn will no longer be held. Other national or state holidays that result from any religious activity, such as Thanksgiving, are hereby canceled. The Gettysburg Address on the Lincoln Memorial must have his reference to God obliterated so as not to offend anyone. His second inaugural address must be totally removed, since it mentions God 14 times and quotes from the Bible twice. The aluminum cap on the Washington Monument must be removed due to the inscribed Laus Deus, meaning praise be to God, as well as a memorial plaque which was donated in 1893 by the Sabbath school children of the Philadelphia congregation. There are many other carvings and tributes throughout the monument, such as Holiness to the Lord, the memory of the just is blessed, may heaven to this union continue its beneficence, in God we trust, and so forth, and they must all be removed. All coins and currency must be removed from public distribution and replaced with coin and currency not having "In God We Trust" on each coin or bill. On a local note, baptisms can no longer be held at the Indiana Grant County Jail. Convicts who have experienced a religious conversion will have to wait until they are released to have holy baptism. 10 Commandment renditions must be removed from the county courthouses immediately, and no longer can crosses be placed on highways where a loved one has died. Speaking of highways, all streets and highways named after religious figures must be renamed. The Library of Congress, with its 130 million documents, has only 2 on display, and they are both Bibles. They must be removed immediately. One of them is the Gutenberg Bible. And now commentary. Our country was founded in search of religious freedom. Pilgrims, Puritans, Quakers, and other Christians from different parts of the world sought to build a city on a hill where they could worship as they chose. They faced incredible hardships to secure this freedom. Our history is replete with examples of nation building with the help of God. Christianity is the foundation for our country and the glue that holds it together with its morals, ethics, and values. Morals, ethics, and values come from God and no one else. Many twisted facts and outright lies have been perpetrated on our citizenry to convince them otherwise. Even Thomas Jefferson has been called a deist, which believes there is no need to worship God. Why would a deist vice president help start a church congregation in the Capitol building, one that grew to as many as 2,000 worshipers a week? He also signed several bills providing funds for missionaries to take Christianity to the American Indians. I was proud to sit in the same pew this great man sat in at his Williamsburg, Virginia church. My friends, this is a sad day for America as we push God away from our nation. Will He push us away? This presentation is, of course, a parody, and no Freedom from Religion Act has been passed or signed by the President. And the question is, could it happen? There are many people out there who want it to happen and are trying very hard to make it happen. Scientists tells us that nature abhors a vacuum. Who or what will fill the vacuum when God is removed from our country? Here is what Patrick Henry had to say. It is when a people forget God that tyrants forge their chains. God help us. Good day.